Hey there, Gemini. How you doing? How you been? Welcome into Great Awakener Ether Realm. My name is Kimberly, and I do apologize for missing um, the reading last week. I was very, very busy at work. I do apologize about that. I'm going to go ahead and do a reading for last week. Maybe it'll resonate with you, maybe it won't. If you don't want to hear it, you're more than welcome to skip ahead as well. Okay? So I am going to do from the 3rd Monday until Sunday the 16th. Okay? All right. To start off with, the moon is in Aries and is conjunct Chiron in square Mars. Okay? Aries is your 11th house of friendships, dreams, hopes, wishes. So Monday the 3rd, you may have met some friends for some coffee or, met up with some friends. It's very chill that day, it looks like. The Mars in Cancer has been in there for quite some time. It is retrograde at the moment. And of course, Mars rules Aries and the moon rules Cancer. So we've got a mutual reception going on here between the two. So, mutual reception just means that it brings a lot more joyful energy and they understand each other. Let's put it that way. They understand each other. So whether it's at a square or not, there's a mutual reception going on here. So, either way, you might be spending some money with some friends or maybe on a dreams, hopes, and wishes that you're, you might start earning some money on one of those hopes and wishes, something to that effect. It's different for everyone, okay? We also have Mercury trine Jupiter at 11 degrees. Mercury is in Aquarius, and Jupiter is in your sign of Gemini. Mercury, of course, is your ruling planet, and it's in a very good spot in Aquarius, another air sign, and then trining Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. You can't go wrong there. So, Aquarius is your 9th house of expansion, which is, kind of funny because the Jupiter is the ruler of the traditional 9th house, which is Sagittarius. So you got a lot of expansion going on here. Also tomorrow, on the 4th, Jupiter also comes out of retrograde, so that's perfect timing for this trine to come in here. And 9th house is also about so expanding your horizons, basically. Higher education, long distance travel, learning other cultures, learning other languages. Okay, it's about kind of dissolving those fences. Okay. And so you look like maybe you're planning on doing some long distance travel, possibly. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is your partnership sector. Maybe some long distance travel with a partner. It also rules it partnership wise. It rules romantic partnerships, but also business partnerships. So maybe you might also be doing some long distance travel with a business partner. To expand on, on a business that you're creating. It could go many different ways, but that trine for you is beautiful. Especially if you have any of your planets around 11 degrees, within 5 degrees, they'll get hit the best on that one. We also have Mars squaring Chiron as well. Okay. Again, the moon hit that square. I already went through it. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It's been in your friendship zone for quite some time, since 2018. And you really don't usually feel it until something like the moon comes in and triggers it. Okay? So, again, something to do with your friendships, dreams, hopes, wishes, and your value system. Okay? The moon then moves into Taurus. Okay, where it squares Pluto in Aquarius. So again, a lot of emphasis on your ninth house of expansion. Excuse me. Taurus is your 12th house of your subconscious. It has to do with anything that is hidden from you, anything that you hide from others, you know, dreams. I just lost my words, sorry. This is the third one I've done so far, so my voice is kind of going out. So you might be dreaming about this long distance travel. I mean, so many things could be going on here. I try to come up with scenarios that fit the best, but something to do with your expansion zone and your 12th house subconscious zone, and something's, square is kind of like brings awareness to a possible problem, okay? So that you can fix it before it gets worse, right? Problems aren't there to hold you back. They're there to help you learn, right? That's one of the things in tarot that I absolutely love, is that one of the things when, the tower card is like, breaking foundations, but, the saying is the tower doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, right? If you change your perspective, when you have problems happening to you, to problems happening for you to grow as a human being, that's where you want to, that's how you want to look at problems, is how can I grow from this, right? That's why the universe is throwing this at you, so that you can grow, okay? So that's why I don't care. Squares to me aren't a big deal. I'm like, bring them on. Like, let me learn my lesson and let's move on to the next one. That's kind of how I look at it. But that's the great thing about astrology and tarot and other divination tools, is that if you know that this is coming on, like, knowledge is power, right? When you have the knowledge that something like this might come up, in the future, tomorrow, it doesn't matter, that, it's coming to you to solve the problem, not to make your life harder, okay? We then have Venus enters Aries that same day. We've got a whole lot of stuff going on the 3rd here. And going into the 4th, it happens that night, and going into the 4th, okay? Aries is your friendship zone. Friendships, dreams, hopes, wishes, pen, okay? For quite some time, we're going to have a lot of emphasis on between Aquarius and Cancer. That's where all of the planets are right now, okay? So there's just like so much emphasis on, this area of everybody's life, okay? So Venus in Aries, Venus is at its detriment in Aries, but it's still a benefactor. You still can't go wrong with Venus. I mean, Venus's worst day is still a great day. So it moving into Aries, that's your friendship sector. Well, I mean, you might start a romance with a friend. It is a possibility, okay? You might be coming into some really good luck with some dreams, hopes, and wishes. All right? Many scenarios can fit in that one as well. All right, so that was just the Monday the 3rd. The 4th on Tuesday is a little bit easier. Jupiter goes direct on the 4th in your sign at 11 degrees, which is wonderful, Jupiter is a benefactor, so even when it's retrograde, even when it's sleeping, it still has, both Venus and Jupiter are the benefactors of astrology. So even though it was going retrograde, it still can do decent work, but it's internal. And now that it's coming out of retrograde in direct motion, anything that you've been working on for these past 5 months can now start coming to fruition. You can start putting out into the world, okay? It is in Gemini, your first house, and your first house is how you project yourself onto the world, okay? Then we have Moon squaring Mercury. Okay. Now, what is that? It's 12 degrees. And that's going, Tuesday is pretty light compared to Monday. And then Wednesday the 5th, we have a whole lot of moon action going on here, okay? So we have the moon coming in to square Mercury, then the sun, okay? And then it makes a sextile to Saturn, and then to Mars, and then it conjuncts Uranus, and then it sextiles Neptune. Okay, so all of these aspects in a very, very short amount of time, simply because the planets are so close together and very close to the same degrees. Okay, so Wednesday, I've already described to others that it could be like up and down, up and down, up and down. The moon is of course, rules our emotions. And you need to look at the moon as like an amplifier, as a reflector. And depending on the aspect, and of course to the planet, it just comes in and squares, sextile. So you have the squares are definitely the more like, like we just discussed, it does, from our perspective, it seems like it's causing a problem, right? But it's really just trying to get you up and off your butt, like give you a kick in the butt, right? And then comes in the sextiles, which are a lot more friendly aspects. Okay, so the squares are in Aquarius, which is, again, your 9th house of expansion. Okay, and then we have, and of course that's the quarter moon, when the moon comes in to square the sun. And then we have the sextiles coming in from Pisces, which is your 10th house of reputation and career. Okay, Saturn has been in that sector for 2 years now, about 2 years. So it's still going to be in there for a little while longer. It's going to go into Aries, I believe, March 30th, I believe. And then it'll retrograde, and it'll retrograde back into Pisces, and then it'll go into Aries permanently next year. Okay, but there, it is leaving. It's just going to kind of go, leave and then come back for a little bit, and then make sure that you learned your lessons, right? So, Saturn does rule the natural 10th house, which is Capricorn. So you could be having a lot of emphasis on your career, having discipline in your career right now. Okay, but then you have, it's a nice sextile, so, but of course the moon is in Taurus, which is your 12th house. So all of this is happening in your subconscious. You're thinking about what to do about these issues. Okay, daydreaming. It's very private. A lot of the stuff that happens in your 12th house, you never even share with other people, right? Like you just keep it to yourself. So there's a lot of, thinking about what to do about, your 9th house and your 10th house and your 11th house. Okay. Yeah. And then of course, Cancer is your 2nd house of values as well. Okay, and then of course you've had Uranus in Taurus. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2019, so you've probably had a lot of epiphanies, a lot of maybe possibly crazy dreams, for the last 6 years. So that does bring up that all of the outer planets are going to be changing signs this year. Okay. And I'm bringing this up mostly because Uranus is going to be going into Gemini this year. Just for a short stay, then it's going to do exactly what I told you with Saturn. It's going to retrograde back into Taurus for a bit, and then next year it's going to be permanently in Gemini for another 7 years. We also have Neptune is going into Aries as well. So we have Saturn and Neptune both going into Aries, and they're both going to retrograde back into Pisces and then stay in Aries next year. So, and then of course Pluto has already made its transition into Aquarius for the next 19 years. So, and then next June, Jupiter will be going from Gemini to Cancer. Okay, so I was just going to throw that out there because that is a big transition for you specifically with Uranus. Okay, it's a big transition for everyone. When the outer planets move signs, because it takes them so long to get around, it is very significant. You know, they're called generational planets for a reason. So, just going to throw that one out there. Please excuse my voice. Okay, the moon is going to then sextile Neptune, which, you know, that's always, to me, that's very ethereal. A lot of dreams, your 12th house, and then the natural 12th house. You know, you might have a lot of dreams on Wednesday, Thursday. Okay? Then the moon moves into your first house of Gemini. Okay? Where it sextiles Venus at 1 degree at that point, and then trines Pluto at 2 degrees. So, again, more emphasis. First house, how you project yourself into the world. Aries is your friends, dreams, hopes, wishes. Aquarius is your 9th house of expansion. Okay, long distance travel. Maybe you might just want to learn a different language. I don't know. There could be a lot of possibilities in there. You know, going back to school. You know, many different things that could emphasize on. And then, of course, the moon conjuncts Jupiter, which you may have seen. You know, if you had seen the conjunction, like, you know, it's beautiful. If you are a stargazer. And then, let's see, excuse my voice. Friday on the 7th, Venus sextiles Pluto. Okay. And just making a nice trine there. I mean, I would personally still call it a grand trine. You know, those hitting each other, they're so close in degrees that, you know, Venus is, you know, all about, you know, love, partnerships, and then Pluto is all about, you know, sex and transformation and, you know, intimacy, you know, death and rebirth and, you know, transformation. So they're kind of two sides of the same coin sometimes. I like to look at it, you know. Some people don't, because, of course, you know, Pluto rules Scorpio, so does Mars. But, you know, it's that Pluto and Persephone. The story of Pluto and Persephone. Pluto kidnaps Persephone, and their mom, I want to say Dimitri, or goodness, I'm losing that, but, you know, the mom rules like agriculture and the seasons and stuff, right? So they came up with a compromise that Pluto would release Persephone for 6 months out of the year, and then her mom would like plant the seeds and let the seeds grow and stuff. And then when she went back to Pluto for 6 months out of the year, then everything died, right? I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to, you know. And the reason I bring that up is because Venus is going to go retrograde on March 1st in Aries, and it's going to go back into Pisces for a bit. And at that point, the sun will overtake Venus. Okay, so right now, if you look at the evening star, the Venus is called the evening star at the moment because it's up in the evening. But after this happens and Venus goes into retrograde and the sun overtakes Venus, Venus is now going to come up in the morning and be called the morning star. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why Venus is actually called the evening star, the morning star, and Lucifer, because it has to do with the story between Pluto and Persephone. Okay, so if you like Greek and Roman mythology, astrology is a lot more profound when you know about the mythologies behind it. Okay, and of course, if you also mix that in with astronomy and actually watch the planets, you know, and bring that 3D world into the mythology world and, you know, the psychological world, like when they all come together, astrology is just like amazing. Okay. So if you like mythology, you know, it goes very, you know, astrology and mythology go together very well, you know, because those are the stories that they talk about, you know. So the Pluto and Persephone story is very significant when you're talking about evening and morning stars. Okay, back to the week. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so Venus sextiles Pluto. And yeah, that's because whenever Pluto and Venus like have anything going on, that story always comes to my mind. So just saying. Okay, then the moon trines Mercury. Okay, at 17 degrees. And then squares Saturn at 18 degrees. And then trines the sun at 18 degrees. Right? And then sextiles Chiron at 19 degrees. And then the sun sextiles Chiron at 19 degrees. And then we have the moon square Neptune at 28 degrees after all of that. Okay. So, yeah, Friday has a lot of stuff going on, you know, but it's good stuff, you know. We only have one square in there. The rest are sextiles and trines. You can't go wrong with that. So the only square that we have going on is between the moon and Saturn. And I already, you know, Saturn. But it's going to get out of there within the next year, and you won't find such a, you know, your career might have been a pain in the butt these past 2 years. That's the best way that I can describe it. But if you brought the discipline with it, you may have made a lot of headway as well. Okay, but Friday, other than that, Friday looks good, you know. And then the moon comes around to square Neptune, which I always call the kind of, whenever the moon makes an aspect to Neptune, I just kind of call la-di-da, you know. It's very daydreamy, it's very ethereal, it's very just like, you know, do-do-do. So you know, it's kind of hard to go wrong with Neptune. And, you know, the bad aspects with Neptune is that, you know, if it could cause addictions and such like that, you know. So, you know, if you have, you know, any issues with that, you know, you might want to watch it a little bit, right? Because, you know, it can get too far into the la-di-da aspect, right? So I'm just going to point that out there, okay? Point that out there. Okay, and that is Friday going into Saturday. Then the moon moves into Cancer, which is its ruling sign, okay, and immediately squares Venus, which is at about 2 degrees. And of course, again, that's your 11th house of friends, dreams, hopes, wishes, okay? And Cancer, again, is your value sector, how you see your self-worth, how you earn your money, how you spend your money, okay? So maybe you might be spending some money with some friends, or maybe on a dream or a hope that you hope to get off the ground, you know, might be putting some money into that. Might be earning some money from a dream that you just implemented, you know, something to that effect. And then Mercury sextiles Chiron at 19 degrees, also in Aries. Okay, got a lot of emphasis on your friendships, dreams, hopes, and wishes, and your expansion. Okay, of course, again, Mercury is your ruling planet, and yeah, just I feel like I'm repeating myself at this time, so I'm sorry if it sounds like that. But the eighth Saturday sounds like a good day. How about that? A nice little sextile to your friendships. Okay. Then Mercury conjuncts the Sun at about 20 degrees. Okay. And then this is when Mercury will overtake the Sun as well. Again, even more emphasis on your expansion zone. Mars then trines Saturn at 18 degrees. And then the moon comes in to amplify that trine. Trines are already very nice. And then you have the moon come in its ruling sign to amplify that energy. Now, people may think that Saturn and Mars are the exact opposite, but if you mix their energies, Saturn is all about discipline and, going for what you want and, getting it together and going after what you want and sticking to it, okay? As to where Mars is very passionate and intense. But if you can mix those two energies, it's like that's the perfect mix. In fact, Mars is actually Mars is actually exalted in Capricorn, which of course Saturn rules Capricorn, because this is all about going after what you want, right? And so is Mars, just in different kind of energies. But when you can mix those two energies, this is your value system, this is your career and reputation system, and you got this nice little trine going on here. So something going on with with those two. That would be Sunday the 9th. Okay, and then we have got the Sun doing a little square with Chiron, and then excuse me, and then sextile Uranus at 23 degrees. Okay, so a lot of emphasis on your values and your career, and then it's going to come in and kind of hit your subconscious here. Okay, I'm gonna be doing a lot of thinking. Okay, let's see. Then going into Monday the 10th. Okay, which is where this should have started in the first place. But let me know if any of that last week resonates with you. If since it's already passed, that would be interesting to hear about that. So then, 10th Monday, the moon trines Neptune. Okay, which again, very nice ethereal energy. I really like the moon and the Neptune aspects, just because it's like one of those real laid back energies. And then the moon enters Leo and makes an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, and then a trine to Venus in Aries. Leo is your third house of community sector, short distance travel, neighbors, siblings, people who are within your community that basically you grew up in or that you live right now. Okay, early learning. So you have your community in opposition with your 9th house of expansion, right? So maybe some siblings want to do some traveling with you. Maybe you're talking to some neighbors about cultural differences, something to that effect. And then Aries is your friendship sector. Again, you might be starting a romance with a friend. I'm just going to put that out there, okay? And you might be, communicating about starting a romance with your friend, or a, excuse me, or about starting your dreams, hopes, and wishes, something that you want to bring into fruition with